Got some recruiting news and then some recruiting spice. These are my favorite types of commitments when they come with like a side helping of pettiness. Abdou Toure, who is a four-star recruit, 6'6" wing, small forward is what he's listed at with ESPN, has committed to Arkansas and John Calipari. Now he chose Arkansas, I think on Friday this was announced, and he chose Arkansas over UConn and Providence. And if you were paying attention to the rumors behind the scenes of Torre's impending commitment last week, there was a lot of discussion on price point and a potential last second bidding war. For a while last week, it was presumed that he was going to end up at Providence. UConn did not feel they were in it. And then in the end, John Calipari pulled out his big Coach Cal checkbook and said, yeah, I'll have one of those. I'll take him. And Abdou Toure is now a Razorback. This would be a video. We would just talk about Abdou Toure, the player, if he had just chosen Arkansas. However, what happened next is very unique and rare. He chose Arkansas and then gave a bunch of quotes about UConn, which, again, last week, behind the scenes, all parties involved did not think Abdou Toure was going to choose UConn. UConn was too busy getting a junior county commitment last weekend. So, kind of strange, very strange that you would see a player commit to one school and then just give a bunch of quotes about another school. And this is what Abdou Toure said about Dan Hurley's UConn program. He said, quote, when I was younger, it was my dream to go to UConn. These past 2 years, I see what they're about, and I didn't see myself playing there. I didn't see my future there. So I chose Arkansas. That's a better place for me to develop, become the player I want to be. End quote. Very unique, to say the least, for a recruit to put Dan Hurley's two-time national championship program on blast like this. But does any of this make sense to you? Can you understand what Toure means by this?
Kind of. I do want to say, I think we're 1 week into the era of high school recruits speaking about the programs they turned down. I think I'm out. Early on, like I thought I would be all the way in. I thought I would love it. I do kind of like Torre's quote for what it's worth, but the Tay Kenny stuff mixing with Torre, my head's now wondering what could Tyron Stokes possibly do after he commits? And whatever he does, I'm going to be out on this whole process. I think we just commit to a school and we don't worry about the other schools moving forward because Tyron scares me. I don't think I know what Abdou Torre is necessarily saying. I love it for him though, because he found home and this feels very Calipari, right? Like, hey, you don't fit over there, I'll make anything work over here type of thing. Like I'll work around you. And that feels very Cal, which I love. I think Torre thinks he isn't playing into Hurley's hand. I want to let everybody know right now, this is exactly what Dan Hurley wanted. Um, Dan Hurley is a unique individual. As I like to say, even for myself, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Dan Hurley's not everybody's cup of tea. Dan Hurley is going to run with this in a manner that Abdou Toure probably didn't want, to be honest with you. And I think this is just kind of like it reminds me of when a Purdue like recruit doesn't go to Purdue and it's just like, like, well, he didn't really fit the Purdue culture. Or like someone doesn't go to Michigan State and he didn't really fit like what Izzo wants to do. Like Izzo prefers like guys that'll be there for a little bit longer than he would have. Abdou Torre is playing right into Dan Hurley's hand, and I don't actually think it's going to have the result that he's looking for.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm with you on like I'm out on this era of guys talk. I love it. I love pettiness and I love just like, yeah, if you want to get spicy after you commit somewhere, do it. Now it also means that I get to make fun of you because I love it because this is crazy. This is crazy what Abdou Toure said. And look, I like Abdou Toure's game. I think he's going to be a good player. Thought it would have been a big get for UConn, certainly a huge get for Providence. It is a big get for Arkansas. Choosing to play for Coach Calipari is a good decision, no matter who you are and the circumstances of how you do it. However, insane to just put UConn on blast. Like, it'd be one thing if this quote was about Hurley. Like, the more I got to know Dan Hurley, I realized we weren't a good fit. His style is not for me. I think at that point, people might not like it. UConn fans might be mad about it, but at least it would be pointed and honest and make sense. For Abdou Toure to say these past 2 years, I see what they're about. What the hell does that mean? About a program that won a national championship, put arguably the best team we've seen in 10 years on the floor in the last 2 years. Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
Hmm. That's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara Kate Creations. Clara Kate Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girls' sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that. But honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy, love his wife, love Claire Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more. Like that makes zero sense. And it's a massive red flag. It's a massive red flag on the player that is Abdou Toure to say, yeah, I watched UConn 2 years ago. Not for me. If any recruit in the country could look at that Donovan Clingan, Stephon Castle team, Cam Spencer, and say, not for me, good. You're not for us. Like, that's insane. And I think in the long run, UConn is not going to miss Torre. They're going to get other players. While this was going on, Colbin Landrew was visiting UConn, and Dan Hurley made sure to get a picture on the timeline of him and Colbin Landrew in the practice facility pointing up to the big wall of NBA jerseys on it as if to say, I'm next. And the only two you could see were Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan, who, again, to me, a little subtle shade. You said the last 2 years, what are we about? We're about developing pros and winning championships. That's what Dan Hurley has done at UConn. And that's something that I don't know if Abdou Toure is going to get at Arkansas, to be honest. So this screams to me he's just petty. Again, he said it was my dream growing up to play at UConn. Like, there are some reports, I don't know how much you've heard or read this, and I don't know how much to believe this, but there is some smoke that UConn really slow played this one, and that part of the reason Abdu is mad is he had scheduled a bunch of visits, and Dan Hurley kept moving them around. Like, oh, I don't want you to come this weekend. Can you come in the middle of the week instead? And at a certain point, Abdu and his family were just like, we want the full UConn experience. We want to come on a weekend. So to me, it's a conflict of UConn may not have wanted Torre all that much. We'll take him, but yeah, you're not our priority. Torre being like, well, for 2 years, you've acted like I'm not the priority. Why would UConn not make you the priority, Torre? Possibly because you're not good enough to be UConn's priority. And this just screams sour grapes.
But by the way, and I mean this, I really like Torre's game, and I
Good.
think he's going to work. So I mean this respectfully. I don't want this is not going to sound great. Also, probably not Arkansas's priority. Like if we're being completely honest, he committed to Arkansas. He financially like probably got what he wanted. But once he gets to Arkansas, right? Like I mean, a 4-star in a Cal system. That doesn't like ring home. It's the same as UConn. Like I don't think he's going to be Arkansas's priority. If they strike out in the portal, like he probably plays a bigger role. I don't know, but I do believe he's the type of guy that like Cal is going to at least attempt to recruit over.
Yeah. By the way, Rob Doster, UConn fan, and just great follow. Everybody go follow Rob Doster, support all the great things the Field of 68 is doing. Doster chimed in on this, and Doster's incredibly plugged in with UConn. So anytime he has things to say about UConn, I take them as gospel. And he quote tweeted this and said, I don't think this is a shot at UConn. I think he's being honest and transparent. Toure is a wrecking ball. His game is based off power and explosiveness. He's a freight train in transition. What he's not is a dynamic shooter like Hawkins, Ball, Mullins, McNeely, or a guy with the passing ability of a point guard like Andre Jackson or Castle. He's a Coach Cal wing. I credit the kid. I think he picked the right school for who he is as a player.
That Doster is special when he's right.
Special from Doster. Now, I agree with almost everything Doster has said. Also, like all these things, he's not a dynamic shooter, a guy with the passing ability of a point guard. Those are reasons Hurley was slow playing him. They didn't want Toure as much as other wing targets because he's not those archetypes. So in the end, it just was not a mutual fit. He was recruited, but he wasn't prioritized. He got pissed. The only thing I disagree with Doster on is I don't think this is a shot at UConn. Let me read the quote one more time and tell me this isn't a shot at UConn. It was my dream to play there, but the past 2 years, I see what they're about. That's not a shot at UConn.
Um, Certainly feels like one.
That's a shot at UConn. And Rob's
Certainly.
right about all the rest of this, but this is a kid trying to take a shot at a program he wished prioritized him. And in the end, UConn's not going to miss him, I don't think. We'll see if Torre makes them miss him with what he does at Arkansas.